It's gladdening to know you're there with us already on your ultimate current affairs program on a perfect weekend like this. Politics Today on independent television and radio with the host of the most sunny Duke, of course, and a whole lot of stuff and the offering in today's package of the program. And you stay with us, and at some point, like we always do, we'll have the opportunity to contribute to the discussion. We'll start off our conversations today on the program with the calling off of strike by the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities, ASUU, after almost about 8 months, which granted academic activities in tertiary institutions, particularly federal institutions. ASUU has decided to suspend its strike, and there are some indications that the union may go on strike again if their demands haven't been met. And some have been asking questions as to why has ASUU decided to suspend the strike. Well, for now, it's just a suspension. That's our first major talking point on the show. We'll also be looking at the discharge of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB, but federal government is saying discharge doesn't mean acquittal, and we'll be talking along those lines. In the political scene, a whole lot is happening. The crisis rocking the PDP following Wike's stand on the removal of the national chairman, Senator Yochayu, is still there. And earlier this week, the APC presidential candidate made a statement that has received a lot of backlash, asking those who have the intention to change government to shut up, the way he said it. We'll be looking at all of that on the show today. I'd like to thank our panelists. Barrister Gentleman Amega is a politician, is also a public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Duke, for having me.
We also have with us in the studio a legal practitioner, public affairs commentator, Barrister Greg Iyayi. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, viewers.
We have with us as well Comrade Christopher Ojeke, who is a civil society activist. Chris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, let's begin with ASUU. The suspension of the strike is something that has been in the offing for days, and finally it came to the point where everyone actually expected it to be, that ASUU will suspend the strike. And the question now is, the strike has been suspended, what next? You have been one person who just felt that this strike is unnecessary, but ASUU has consistently maintained that the strike is not about them and it's not for them. It's about improving the quality of education in this country. Why is it that when Nigerians go abroad, they excel? It means that what we have here is good, but if we can strengthen it, it will be better than what is obtainable abroad. Let me get you started, Barrister Mego.
Well, thank you, Duke. The first is that we are happy that at last the strike has been called off. But events preceding the call off of the strike is quite lamentable. We have been appealing to them, call off this strike, call off this strike. And then we said that all the departments in Nigeria are not robust. There's no happiness in so many departments. Why are ASUU taking over himself to say, oh, we must go on strike to get XYZ? What have they gotten now? At the point, if I go and give them 50 billion, 100 billion, now that they have called off the strike, what have they gotten? They have not gotten the job because the court said, go and call off the strike, negotiate. This is what we have been asking them. Go to classroom and negotiate. But you say, no, you must. Tell me where you are. Are you enjoying everything you are supposed to enjoy? Where my brother is he in this country? Is he enjoying everything? Is he judiciary? Is he where that there's enjoyment in this country? So ASUU just took it upon himself for so long. In any case, they said they have only suspended the strike. We wish them luck. But however, this is the time for us to call on the government to actually have determination, strong determination to improve education in this country. Without determination, there's nothing we can do. The strike action will continue from year to year. I suffered it myself when I was in the university. Other people suffered it. We will continue to suffer it. Yes. Nothing will come out now. But the immediate solution, I said the other day, if we can give the universities back to the states or back to individuals, if you don't want to do that, we are tired of having thousands and thousands of students in one classroom. to do what do you call it, diplomacy and whatever, to do sociology, that are not relevant to our growth. The kind of university we want right now, where you have Department of Bricklaying, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Department of Carpentry, Department of things that we actually need. Building, agriculture, for our growth. The man who discovered electricity in 1883, he didn't go to the university. So then Department of Creativity, where you encourage our young ones who can create, put them together. You'll find if we do all that, in another 10 years, we are making planes, we are making ship, we are doing so many things. But today, I want to go and read diplomacy and whatever you call it. Those things are not relevant to our growth. We want growth. Okay. We are at the point we were at the same level with South Korea. Where are we today?
All right. Mr. Greg, let me get you involved. Professor Shedeke, specifically said that the strike was called because of the intervention of well-meaning Nigerians. I mean, beginning with Mr. President, with Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, the Speaker House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. But just like Barrister Amego, others are saying, well, it's largely because of the decision by the court. You want to subscribe to this?
I think so. I very much subscribe to that, because all these individuals have been making calls before now, and they have been making appeals. Parents have been making appeals, and ASUU did not call off the strike. I think they now got to a point where they were faced with the court action from the lower court and then from the appellate courts, and they gave a condition that, look, you go back to work while negotiation will be on, and then we will hear you. That since the lower court has said that you should go back to work, your appeal, is not really, your appeal will be hard, but it does not act as a kind of stay. I think that was what they wanted. They wanted an injunction, a stay of execution of the industrial court order. But we are relieved that, one, they have decided to obey the court order.
Okay. All right, Chris, you got a comment on that, particularly with the fact that the ASUU president is saying that the issues in dispute, they've not been satisfactorily met. So you want to ask, what's not the basis for calling off the strike?
Yes, especially after the escapist reasons given, and I'm not particularly pleased with that. If you say it is because of pressure from people, you are saying you're undermining the court's judgment.
Yes. That
the court does not have the jurisdiction to ask you to return to classroom. The court is the arbiter whenever there are any sort of dispute arising from the Constitution or whatever. So 5 points are their demands, maybe more than 5. UTAS, that's University Transparency and Accountability Solution. They want that system rather than the IPPS that the government is proposing. They want federal universities funded, more funded. They are protesting against the proliferation of public universities. They are asking the issues of visitation panel to the university addressed and white paper that is released. They are asking that we should go back to the renegotiating of the 2009 agreement. Yeah. Now, these points I have made, none of them should stall activities, academic activities. Okay. All of these points can be in negotiation while you are in classroom teaching, because these are unending matters. For instance, funding is a continuous thing. Developing systems of accountability is a continuous thing. So the point is that there's been so much pressure, which has not been mentioned here, for instance. There have been grapevine information that the government was trying to break their back. I mean, we begin to see splinter groups. Some were even threatening to call off the strikes. State universities, some have called off strike and so on and so forth. Because, as they say in our parable, when you do take for where you go shit, a different flag, they meet you there. Exactly. So you have to have your points defined, ab initio, before you went on strike. And then you have to know when to say, look, let's be humane. Let's think of the students. Let's watch people's sentiments and so on and so forth. So I think they overstayed the strike, actually. And we're happy that they are back, but it shouldn't be with threat. Okay. It should just be with the fact that we are renegotiating and we're going to renegotiate. Yes.
All right. But I know that part of the challenge is that when you have irresponsible leadership it's very difficult it's difficult not to have this kind of scenario play out where, unions will go on strike. But it looks like in Nigeria, the only thing that leadership understands is when you take them head on and do something extraordinary, particularly when the man is peaceful. We're not in any way advocating violence in any way, but we're saying it's always very painful to see that when people are peaceful, having constant engagement and all of that, leadership doesn't respond. But the moment you see some sort of very aggressive approach, a frontally aggressive approach, then you see leadership, it draws their attention. They want to speak to you, they want to talk to you, they want to engage you. And that takes us to the next conversation. Nnamdi Kanu was discharged within a week, but the dust generated by that was yet to settle when we heard the federal government saying, well, discharge doesn't mean acquittal. You're a lawyer. Give us a perspective on this and the far-reaching implications. Mr. Member.
Yes. Nnamdi Kanu was charged under 15 counts. 15
count charge.
Yes, and he had been discharged and acquitted 7 out of 15. So he's going to be there.
For 43 more to go.
Yeah, but no, 15.
Okay.
We have taken away 7.
Yes.
What is 8.
Okay.
Yes. So he still has a lot of things to do, a lot of homework to do. His lawyers have a lot of homework to do. He still has to answer to the other 8 count charge. We are praying for him. We are also praying for the federal government. Let the proper thing be done. That's what we are saying. I always sound to say, let us do our own duty to ensure that our country grows. That's our problem. Let this country grow. If Kanu has committed offense against the land, then he will be taken up. But if we find that there are flimsy counts, just the way he has been discharged 7 out of 15, he will also be discharged.
Okay. Barrister, I've heard people say that you cannot use illegality to prosecute legality, as it were. Is that the case playing out in this kind of scenario?
I think that is exactly the case, because he's been brought from Kenya. Was it a legal process? Is it accepted by international law? The proper thing would have been for the federal government to make an application to UK.
Kenya.
And then the UK will now prevail on Kenya. And then he can be extradited if need be.
Okay.
But that was not done. It was an act of terrorism. It was kidnapping. He was kidnapped. We are talking against kidnapping here, but you are doing it on the international stage. Let's be realistic. You cannot use illegality to justify what you call illegality. Okay, if you say Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, what of the AK-47 wielding headsmen that are roaming around and killing people? Have we heard of any of them being charged and being sentenced? Why is the government concentrating on IPOB? Jonathan was told about IPOB, arrest them, do this and do that. He said IPOB is one of the least of Nigeria's problem. Somebody raising the flag and saying, I'm not president. I have been in the bus at Onitsha where we were asked to say that Jonathan was not our president. There's no country like Nigeria, and that we should buy the Biafra flag. So we all bought, we're compelled to buy, we all bought the Biafra flag.
But does it change the reality?
But it doesn't change the reality that Jonathan was president, there was a country like Nigeria, and then after that, we were asked to go. Well, we were told if we didn't do it, we'd be taken to their leader's place in Unewi. But we knew that it was all a kind of joke, although a very expensive one. So the government should concentrate on doing what is legal. A political problem requires a political solution.
You share these sentiments too by Chris Jacob.
Well, what he said is that legally, the process of extradition was wrong. It depends on how the federal government interprets Nnamdi Kanu with respect to national security. And whether there are extraneous factors compelling them to act like that. But I agree that the concentration on Nnamdi Kanu as against the larger picture of insecurity we suffer even from AK-wielding, AK-47 wielding, just street boys roaming around our forest, shows that the government itself has a lot to answer about why they are directing all their sense of justice towards Nnamdi Kanu. But Nnamdi Kanu has no longer exculpated himself from a lot of violent activities in the southeast.
Okay.
So he cannot be tolerated by any stretch of imagination. But you know, if the court had said that he's acquitted and there are still charges he has not been discharged of, he needs to answer to those charges.
Fantastic.
Well, sir, let me just say,
Yeah.
Contribution of my colleagues is in one sentence: when the center cannot hold,
Things will fall apart.
things will fall apart. So you will bring that into fall with Nnamdi.
Okay.
Do you know how many people that have died because of Nnamdi? Many people that have died in his own home, around the street, even up till now. So it is only when the center will speak, when the center will hold tightly, that the periphery will stand.
Okay.
So we'll leave it at that.
If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. We go straight into the real main political discussion on the show this lovely Saturday morning. Over the week, the APC, the ruling party, constituted the female wing of their presidential campaign. And the presidential candidate of the APC, in addressing the mammoth crowd, made a statement that has been trending in the last couple of days on social media, but it's trending in a sense on the negative side because of what he said and how he said what he said. We'll play you that video shortly. Hopefully we'll be able to get you that video in the course of the program. But let's get our panelists to talk on this. The presidential candidate of the APC saying,
Yes.
whoever has the intention, when they ask you or they say to you that they want to change the government of the day, just tell them, shut up. Just to quote him correctly. But let's get started, Barrister Amego. Yes, you may not be the best person to comment on this because
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, but let's get your reaction.
Simply put,
yes,
the word "shut up" it's not a very bad word.
it's not a bad word.
No.
Okay.
A lot of people you will interpret situations negatively.
Okay.
He said those who are talking against the continuity of this government, shut up.
Okay.
This is not an insult. If you see them in CNN, for example, BBC, they tell their colleagues, shut up. Simply put, don't say that again.
Okay.
But we interpret it as if you are causing the sky to fall down. Please, it didn't mean to hurt anybody. Just say, shut up.
So it's harmless.
Very harmless.
But I say, yeah, you feel this way too.
That word "shut up" is toxic. It's not just harmless. It's politically toxic, emotionally toxic, psychologically toxic in every way. Because when you asked to shut up during Jonathan's periods, was such a thing said to you, either jokingly or seriously? You see, the kernel of democracy is accommodating dissenting opinion. And if we reach a point where we now have to tell other people, shut up, there's freedom of speech. There's freedom of speech. And I don't expect somebody of his status campaigning to be the president of this country to utter such a statement. You know, the way he did, in the forum he did. So we take seriously what he has said. Now, if this man becomes president and we have reason to disagree with him, what is he going to tell us?
You
Shut
tell
up.
me. You tell me.
We tell you, shut up.
Chris, maybe you take it off from there, Chris.
Yeah, maybe you just allow me a bit of semantic punditry. If you are to interpret what he said, the language he used is if anyone is asking for a change of government, or rather continuity of this government. That language itself is anomalous, because it is not this government that is going to be continuing in 2023. Okay. It's another government.
That's right.
So what he's saying by implication is that this government has no intention to hand over. This government is going to continue in 2023.
That's clear.
Now, semantically. Now, let's look at the connotations that Bros referred to. The existence of other political parties is itself a statement that you should change government. Because other political parties are set up to change the current government. So the existence of PDP and Labour Party, for instance, is already a statement accepted democratically. What is PDP asking for? It's asking you to change the government. So he is advocating dictatorship, that we should not have any other political party. I'm still playing with my semantics, if you say shut up.
Yes.
And then with respect to exercising our franchise as Nigerians, he said the women should come and tell us to shut up. He is Alpha and Omega who understands what we need. We have no choice in making the choice.
Precisely.
That's what he's saying.
Precisely.
Now, we have been following the trend of this particular presidential candidate and his wife. And I don't know if they see it as a joke. First, the wife was speaking on the other day on public television. They were saying, you Igbos who refuse to marry our daughter will send all of you away. And it created a furor. Now, that had hardly died down when he's making this kind of statements again. There have been other ones. So we may laugh at it, but I think it's a window. Our words is a window to our soul. It's a window to the psychological composition of Ahmed Bola Tunibu. I begin to see him as patterning after Donald Trump of the United States. That kind of attitude won't work in Nigeria. You can't bully Nigerians into what you want. You must negotiate, and you must frustrate. Yes.
Okay. It's not bullying.
Let's take you to the VCR. Take a listen on the sharp blip by the presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We'll take a listen. We'll be back to continue this conversation. Please stay with us. It's still Politics Today on independent television and radio.
The party's presidential flag bearer, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, promised to give new hope to the nation.
Prosperity is here. Health is here. Security is here. Banditry has ended.
The national chairman of the APC described the inauguration of the women's campaign team as the heart of all women organization, as Aisha Buhari commended the party for inclusiveness.
Nigerian women alone are capable of delivering. If you stand by your words, if you stand by your will that you have just started expressing, by the time you combine your efforts with the efforts of men that have been driving this wire, there's no stopping us.
For the third time since 2015, women and youths under the banner of All Progressive Congress have changed the pattern of electioneering.
Okay, we hope to get that video and you just hear it from the horse's mouth. But it brings us to the question about expectations for the 2023 elections relates to campaign issues. So far, so good. What has been the observation in terms of engagement, in terms of ensuring that the issues are really properly distilled so that the people can have a meaning or attach a meaning to what is being said? Other people say that it's going to be a very, very difficult campaign for the ruling party, talking about the APC. And I'm getting back to my panelists now to get their perspectives on this. Let me start with Barrister Greg Iyai. Why do you think that this campaign is going to be a difficult one for the ruling party? Let me start with you.
Because if we are to follow issues, or if it's going to be an issue-based campaign, the issues are very clear. They are so lucid. Our people say if sand too much for Gary, blind man will know. There is no, where insecurity is everywhere. Then the economic situation, the hardship, energy crisis is there. And then what of the exchange rates that have made nonsense of whatever you call economic planning, whether for a state, for a corporate organization, an individual, or even the country. So when you look at all these things, I don't know what the ruling party is going to campaign on. I don't know what they are going to promise us. And what makes it even more difficult is that the principal actors who told us that they brought this government to power, they're even the one now campaigning that we should enthrone them again. What are they going to do differently? Let's visit the promises they made before the administration started. This time, there's no Jonathan to blame. I think this government has stayed longer than Jonathan stays for now. So it was what we meant, it was what we meant, it was what we meant. Now you have stayed longer. So I don't know. It's going to be very difficult for the ruling party. And that makes it easier for the opposition parties if they can draw political capital from the areas of failure of the present administration.
Okay. Let me get Chris to respond here. But I've also heard people say that in Nigeria, the politics is not really about the political parties, but about the individuals. Is that something we can rely on, or is that something the ruling party can rely on in this election?
Those are no polar positions. I mean, everything is involved in election.
Exactly.
It's not as if it's not this, is this. Political parties contribute, individuals contribute, and many other factors contribute. For instance, the choice of the presidential candidate of the APC in picking a Muslim. No, just oppose it against the backdrop of the latest talk that is trending, and when he said in 2015 that if he ever supports, a president and vice president of the same faith, may God punish his family or may God not forgive his family. I mean, it's trending.
It's trending.
It's just like what happened in Edo State in 2020, when unfortunately the campaign manager for one of the candidates was the person who said the most damaging things about him. So all people needed to do was to replay back to him. It's right. So this was a man who in 2019 led the change, what do you call it, revolution. And now, what as Bro said, what are they going to campaign on? What are you going to tell Edo women whose children, whose husbands were killed in the forest, or tell the husbands whose wives were raped in the forest, and without any one such person brought to justice? What are you going to tell people who bought rice 18,000 naira before you came in and are now buying rice 38,000 naira, 48,000 naira now, and still counting because this is the third month to December,
and
which is Christmas.
is coming.
So what are you going to tell people who bought fuel for 145 and are now contending with 200 and we have not approached Christmas? Look, and to make matters worse, you are now slapping a huge section of the country on their face by not representing them in government if you have a government later. Because if you don't have a Christian ticket in the two arms of the executive that are leading, then it means Christianity is not represented in ASUU Rock. Simple and short. The sentiments of Christians, their interests, their worldview is not represented. The people who put balance in our constitution know what they are talking about. It's not just political consideration. The sentiments of the people, their worldview have to be represented. There are decisions you will need to take and you will want to get more than half of your population. Somebody representing them and say this is how they think. So it's as far as I'm concerned, it's dead on arrival. Whatever anybody is saying, that ambition is dead on arrival.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Let me get to the
it's not in our constitution that it must be a Muslim Christian or Christian Muslim. That's not in our constitution. What's in our constitution is that the good human being should come out and rule. We are the people interpreting, don't bring a Muslim ticket. That is not a serious business. What's a serious business? You want somebody with capacity to govern this country. You see, I grew up with the independence of this country from 1960. We have never had it so well in this country. That's our problem. And I believe in the philosophy that the black man is very limited in so many areas. And I said it in this program. When democracy started, they were compartmentalized. Political idiots, tribal politicians, and then the citizens. We have never had a citizen governing this country. We had one, but he had a very short stay. That's Murtala Mohammed. They didn't let him grow because he came with beautiful ideas. He didn't mind that he migrated from Auchin to Kanu. He wanted to be a citizen. But all you have today is political idiots or tribal politicians. By the time we get a citizen, we'll be able to move this country forward. We want a determined president, determined leader. I am going to face it, and he will face it. Put everything on front burner, and he will walk, and everybody will see it. Like I said, I've never seen any change from. We are 62 years now. I've not seen a remarkable change in this country, except the young ones. Maybe one road is dualized. That's all. All the companies that were set up are all dead. So nothing remarkable is happening in this country until we get that determined leader. Okay. I was listening yesterday. The president of Ghana went to America and saw a Ghanaian being a lecturer in America and brought him to be made deputy minister in Ghana. People are inviting him now to come and speak on education from one country to another. 2 days ago, he was talking from Kenya. Have we ever done such a thing? Do we see a man that has something to offer and bring him to come and tell us and support him? We don't. That's why I was talking of Department of Creativity. Bring people that would come and support him. In 10, 15, 20 years, we'll be making planes, we'll be making bombers, we'll be producing missiles. Fantastic. But today, that's where we are. Sir.
All right, let me get us, because of time, Pastor Greg Iyai.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, locally that Wike has tied rope on the around the neck of the presidential campaign council of the PDP. That explains why, after they flagged off their campaign in Akwa Ibom State, there was a pause to have an engagement with Wike. I mean, I saw a comment by him just yesterday that the PDP can't win the presidential election without him. I'd like to get your take on how this issue has escalated, the demands that he has made, and the response from the Presidential Council so far.
I think Wike's demands are legitimate, and they are actually expected. Wike has said the primaries have been done. He has accepted the presidential candidates. He was going for the vice presidential candidacy. He was overlooked or pushed aside, but he has accepted the vice president. But that there was an agreement before the primaries that if the presidential candidate emerges from a certain section of the country, like in the north, that ASUU, who is also from the north, will resign. ASUU said that himself. So I see his insistence as being legitimate. Look, we must learn to do things right, and we must have feelings for other people. How can the DG of the campaign is from the north, the chairman is from the north, the presidential candidate is from the north?
But
I think, yes, I agree. You might say merits, but there's also the unwritten rule of balance and inclusiveness. I think that's all Wike wants. Wike is not arguing again to be president or to be vice president or whatever. He has said, but let there be fairness. And he is not saying that he must be the person who will be chosen. Let there be fairness. And you see, if we don't fight the battle at a particular stage, the war might overwhelm us.
Absolutely. I've heard people say that this demand by Wike is unrealistic because consistently he has found himself in this situation, beginning with Ali Modu Sharif. You remember him? He was instrumental to his removal, and then from there Uche Secondus came. He demanded Uche Secondus to be removed. I mean, I saw a video where he was asked and he didn't deny it.
yes,
And then we have Iyocha Ayu, and now he's asking for which is asking to be removed. This is an election year. Does this bode well with you, Chris?
Where we have problem in this country is to personify ideas. You make yourself a personification of ideas.
Because you are the owner of the idea.
Then you put the ideas to the public as if you are fighting for that idea, whereas you're actually fighting for your person.
Precisely.
And so you complicate it. Even those some people will be pursuing the ideas, but some are afraid to pursue the ideas because in doing so they are pursuing your person, which you have made yourself to be the idea. Now, in a nutshell, what Wike fighting for is fighting for Southern representation. And I heard him say a few days ago that this is power game. If we don't fight for it now, once he becomes president, you don't get it. But, I mean, Sonny, if it will be fair, you remember that 2 years before this, I've been crying, not Southern unification.
Yeah.
That the South should have one candidate.
Voice, one candidate.
One voice. That they will push forward if they are going to win this battle. Because I know that the North, who that they are in policy. Let me tell you how it plays. Now, Atiku is presidential candidate for PDP. That's full-blown presidential candidate. Then there is a presidential candidate by road. Because if you are vice presidential candidate and you say you are going to take care of security, and your president will take care of economy, We already see the presidential candidate by road. So that, God forbid, anything happens, the North has the two options. We were sitting here as the South. We didn't put our house in order and form a united front. We were running personal activities. When you now fail, you say you are personifying the South. I agree that the demands of power balance is legitimate, but not through your person. Now, why is it that the Niger Delta governors are not with you? It is not because of hatred. It is how you had played it from the beginning. Why was Secondus removed? It was a right-hand man. If Secondus was there, and we had this kind of situation, you already have what you are not clamoring for. So we cannot continue to follow you like you have a leash on our necks. That is why people are saying, look, you have missed it. Allow it to play out the way it should play. And then number two, is there legitimate, what do I call it? Ground in Atiku's defense that he cannot just unilaterally remove the
Senator Ayu.
That it has to go through a process.
There is, I mean,
because we are still going to be the first person tomorrow that will say he used his influence to just remove the chairman, as we are saying it of Wike now. So Wike should try and understand these things. Now he has accepted the presidential candidate and just accept the whole hog and support his party.
All right.
Yeah,
let me quickly react to that.
Yes.
Wike is saying that
Ayu
should resign as he promised to do.
It was a statement made by Ayu.
It was a statement made by Ayu.
But not PDP,
and it was agreed and it was endorsed by the party.
Okay.
He is saying there's always a gentleman arrangement. You know these things.
All right, Pastor Meko, quickly.
Well, my colleague here already said it because it was not constitutionally provided. Wike is making himself sine qua non to this country, and there's nobody who cannot do without in this country. He cannot make himself like that.
So why did they negotiate with him? Why did they negotiate with him?
Because you know what he did 2 days ago? He employed 5,000 essays.
So no, 14,000.
Okay, 14,000.
And then another 20-something thousand.
He says he wants to make it one. Okay, you have not read the latest. 100,000.
Okay. We don't know what he has in mind.
Yeah.
We are looking at
that's
it.
a political strategy to take
but he's telling
state
them, go and
in
vote
the
PDP.
election.
Yes.
Yeah,
in the election.
He didn't hide it.
He didn't hide it.
But he's saying they should go and vote for PDP. If your followers go and vote PDP and you are not relevant in PDP, of course you'll be thrown off.
Okay.
You see, the only thing I enjoyed yesterday, although it might not mean anything, Wike has now said that somebody gave 1 billion to your charge, whatever they call him, your charge, 1 billion, and another 300 million. But that's all you will hear. Nobody will say how, who gave him. Even the journalist ask him, who is this governor? He said, no, I will tell you later on, not now. Who is going to probe it? The chairman has been accused. Who is going to ask the chairman who gave you 1 billion? That's how we play our money in this country. That's how we don't develop ourselves in this country. So one governor, may cost be on the head of that governor. To go and give 1 billion. 1 billion is a lot of money.
It is.
And then another 300 million. Let the cost of Nigerians be on that person who should have used that money to develop his state.
Okay, thank you very much. Our studio line will be open shortly, so you can also call and be part of the conversation. Politics Today on independent television and radio. Hashtag Politics Today on independent television and radio. Please don't call my private number. The number will be on the screen in a moment, and then you can also call and be part of the discussion. Now, quickly, I just want to get one round for everyone to comment on the quest. Everybody really wants the right change to happen in Nigeria, where Nigeria will be there for everyone. As we speak, there is a mass exodus. I'm putting mass just to exaggerate, not necessarily to exaggerate, to emphasize the number and the rate at which Nigerians are leaving to the UK, to Canada, to other parts of the country, and it's not stopping. That's because they are dissatisfied with the state of affairs in the country. But Barrister Mego said a while ago that we're looking for that man who is a statesman, that man who can really turn things around, that man who has the knowledge, has the health, the strength, has the energy, has the capacity, has the disposition, both mentally, socially, physically, and what have you, to change the narratives in this country. Barrister Gregory, have we gotten that man? Have you seen that man?
I think we have seen the man. but I will not mention his name because our daddy will accuse me of
No,
campaign.
go ahead.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Don't listen. Let me get your
You were talking
perspective.
of 1 billion just now. You forgot $25 billion.
Yes.
A contract given by one man. And when he was asked, when he was confronted, he said, I had the backing of the president.
Finito.
Yes. And that was the end of the matter. Yes. We are talking of 1 billion naira. What of $25 billion? You know what that can do for Nigeria? Okay. What we are saying is that for all the presidential
so 1 billion
candidates,
doesn't mean anything to you anymore.
it doesn't mean anything where someone has given out
$25
billion.
Okay.
One person, no board of director, no meeting, nothing.
All right.
So
yes, anchor the point, Barrister Greg.
So what we are saying is that the presidential candidates are before us. We all know that man, at least, because I look at every one of them, the 18 of them, as a potential president. And that man is visible, that man is clear, that man has spoken, and I think the people recognize him.
Good.
And on the day of the election, he will be unveiled.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Chris.
We know the man. We know the person.
Thank you.
Governance
Jagaba.
is not a one-man affair.
Yeah.
Whatever you think you might have, governance is not a one-man affair.
I agree.
Governing,
I'm always concerned
governing,
that,
yes.
I'm always concerned that, when we talk about this man,
Yes.
and when people want to talk about him, they're always very circumspect.
Yes.
They become calm,
Yes.
calculative,
Yes.
and organized.
Because
That's because he truly has the credentials that is very, very
no,
intimidating.
that's a hasty
Chris, that's what I'm thinking.
what is
because you that I know,
what is
we
it
go out
yes.
to just explain this like this. You're a bit calculative.
Not to acknowledge that he has made an impact is to be foolish.
Okay.
Where ignorance is bliss, is folly to be wise.
Okay.
And that's why people are calculating. Because you can step out of the studio and then people are waiting outside for you. The thing is that when people are tired of walking in the sun, any little tree that provides shade is paradise. But that may not be the idea.
Okay.
There have been precedences that have shown that this man might be overhyped. And in any case, it's not coming there on his own.
Okay.
People like to deceive themselves that they are the one bringing him, but events unfolding is showing that some people are getting up from seat and placing him on the seat and say, I have done my job. I know that kind of thing.
Yes, I saw that video.
So it tells you that the people who might just be thinking that the one bringing him are not the one actually bringing him.
Okay. Let's get Pastor Mego to quickly respond to. Okay, Pastor Mego, you already made a point on that earlier. 07083651320. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from, then go ahead with your contribution. Good morning, caller. You're live on Politics Today. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Abigail.
Abigail, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Useru.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so concerning the ASUU strike, I really want to say that the decision of the House of the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We're listening to you. Go ahead, please.
It's actually what prompted the ASUU chairman and the other members to go out of the strike. Because we have been home for exactly 8 months, not even almost 8 months. We have been home for 8 good months, suffering depression. The strike has told on our mental health.
Sorry about that.
And we are very, very grateful that ASUU has called off strike. Then concerning the political aspect of them, I think the man to be chosen is very, very visible, as the panels have said. He is very, very visible. And we are going to vote all the old leaders that have killed this country.
Do you have PVC? Do you have your PVC?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I have my PVC.
Okay, we'll give you a clap. We'll give you a clap.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. When we get response like this, particularly for young people, with her voice, you can tell that she's pretty young. But she's told you the impact of the strike, traumas
On her.
They've been traumatized. She's been traumatized. And several other people. In fact, some have died in the process. Yes. In any case, some have become housewives, mothers, because of the strike. And the word there is that we're going to vote out these old politicians that have run this country aground. The youths are ready, and they are doing that with every statement that they make, just like we heard our first caller on the program. Okay, hello caller, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning. I'm Friday by name.
Yes, Friday, please go ahead quickly.
I give special thanks to the lecturer that is going back to their various classes very soon.
Thank you.
And as the comments by the APC presidential bearer, you see, that comment is not that good to the situation of this country right now. A woman cannot walk to me, maybe when I'm talking about the pain I'm passing through because of the hardship caused by this various government. A woman walk to me and tell me to shut up. You see, it may look so violent. I mean, flat or, you see. See, I mean, maybe I'm talking about maybe the farm. I make borrowing money to make a farm. The so-called Fulani explain the bad ones have destroyed it. I'm lamenting about the woman who walk to me and tell me to shut up. What do you expect me to do?
Okay.
You be angry.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, reactions trailing that statement, and it will continue. Apparently, arising from what second caller just said. His anger is not that somebody will walk up to him,
but a woman.
That a woman will walk up to him and tell him to shut up. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? And where are you calling from? Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? 080-070-8365-1320. That's the studio number. Dial it and go ahead. If we have that video now, because we'll be itching to play you that video if it's ready, let's take it. We'll be back with you to take more calls and call the program, call it a wrap, as a matter of fact. Hello, caller. Good morning.
They want a change of government. Just tell them, we like to be polite, but shut up your mouth. If they say they want a change of government, just tell them, we like to be polite, but shut up your mouth.
And they clap for him, but the aftermath of that statement is what we are discussing on the show, and is also very strong on social media. But let's take this call. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? What's your name, caller? Yes, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Jackson.
Jackson, where are you calling us from?
Hello?
Go ahead, Jackson. We are listening to you. Go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm a youth and I'm calling, first of all, I want to say God bless you people and the gentleman there. First of all, these new candidates that they are all propagatory according to the first caller and all that. I'm also a youth, and not all youth are deceived. The new candidates that are being proposed, they are also part of the old leaders that they are saying they want to vote away. How can you say you want to vote away old leaders, and he was part of the group of old leaders that ruled before? Okay. Let us go back and check their credentials. What has he done as a former governor in his state? What has he done under his tenure as a former governor in his state? Doctors strike for I think about a year. Teachers also strike. What is the mega project that he did in Anambra that is going to do in Nigeria? In the full Nigeria that is going to replicate. So I think they are all the same, but we are going to choose a lesser evil. So me, we have tested the PDP government and we have tested the new government. I would prefer the PDP government because I won't prefer. I have my PDP and I'm going to vote for that party. Okay. And everybody should make his choice. But not all you are the same.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Interesting conversation. Your name and where you're calling from. Go ahead with your contribution. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
That's 2 to 1.
Good morning, caller. What's your name?
That's youth for you.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Yes, good morning. on your TV
Yes,
or
I'm
radio. Oh, all right, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Good morning.
I'd like to say hello, good morning to the panel on the studio.
Thank you.
And my name is Jennifer.
Okay, Jennifer, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Ugbawo.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, the statement that was made by the presidential candidate of the APC, the way they are saying that he just said shut up. Shut up is a negative way of saying things. He would have said something else, maybe keep quiet. That would have been better.
Okay.
He just said shut up outright, as if Nigerians are fools. You only say shut up to somebody if the person is a fool. So we are not fools. I have my PVC. We are going to the polls and we are going to vote.
Because I said it now.
We are going to vote.
All right.
We are going to vote out the people who are telling us not to say our mind.
Okay.
We are going to vote them out.
All right.
And that's my own contribution.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
You have PVC. Everybody's standing up.
Yes, Barrister Felix Otobo. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I just want to salute the guest speaker, the man of Nigerians.
Okay.
Especially the other guy that was bringing up the campaign issues. The present government, what would they campaign with? When we are seeing everything very glaring. Because the present government has created monster everywhere. You can't go to the bush, you can't go to the farm. You can't even go to area to go and buy dollar. So there's problem everywhere. The PDP are supposed to now do something. They are not being able to put their hands on. I know yesterday we now heard that we can say he supported the leader candidate and the vice president. But he doesn't want IU to be there. But the party now said, after so he should so come and move ahead with the party.
Okay.
So for Labour, you can say, okay, we want to vote the Labour, but when are the structure, although the PDP, the president can decide, the youth are the structure. So we pray that by 2023, we should have a good leader that will lead this country out of the wood. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Barrister Felix Otobo. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm calling you from Kodo here.
No, for Jagan.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm a voter too.
Yeah.
I think what we inform our voting system is the antecedent of the three leading parties. All of them has ruled. Who is antecedent still living with him till today where he ruled? Is because the antecedent living with him in Anambra State? Is Atiku Abubakar antecedent living with him as he was vice president? Has Tinubu antecedent not increased in Lagos State? There is no need for anybody to doubt. The capacity and the economic wizardry he showed in Lagos State is enormous for anybody to reason. So there is no need for anybody to think that the youth that have PVC. I don't know
I think that question of the youth today have PVC has been overtaken by events. One called us today and we asked him that question and he said she has her PVC, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Let us see that if you look for a candidate who is credible, whose antecedents live after his rule, that is the person we want to vote for. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me take this last call before we call it a wrap. Sonny Gedosa, please go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm indeed grateful to your guest this morning. I will sincerely say that Mr. President Buhari should remember that he's running out of time. And he's not going to take the judiciary along with him. So they will need to look at areas where they can step down, because when the ovation is loud, that's not to step down from the dance floor.
Yeah.
The issue of Nnamdi Kanu should be let go. But that's not to say that we should not advise Nnamdi Kanu. Look at the UK now. They want to come out of the EU. They didn't call any names. Don't curse Nigeria and you say you want to leave Nigeria and you want to leave the country. He has so many followers. Let it not be a bad leader to his followers. Okay. Therefore, the issue of whether someone says we should shut up, like my elder will always try to avoid some certain issue and say it's not a big deal. People should not make noise with it. But they should shut up on the day of election. They should actually shut up the issue of bad governance. Okay. I think that's what we need to look at as a people. Okay. You need to ask yourself, like last week I bought a bag of rice, it's 37,000. But this week has already grown to about 45. I'm hearing for students 48.
So at the end of the day, when you hear these cases, does it make Nigeria rejoice or make them shout? Leah Sharibu, has she be released right now? So these are some of the things that will mark the issue of the decision of next year.
Okay.
Many have said that they are wiser now. Are they going to put that to work in 2023 election? We will know whether Nigeria is really wise or we will still follow.
Exactly.
Thank you, Sadiq Edosa. That's a wrap on the package today. I want to say big thanks to Christopher Ojekiri. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bryce Greg Iayi, thank you so much.
Thanks
Bryce
for having me.
Amego, thank you so much. It's always a delight to know you're there with us on the program, Politics Today, on independent television and radio. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday. We'll have another bumper package in the offing. Till then, stay blessed.